To pray, there's no angels where I go. Only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty, hello everybody. This is Kirusho here. Now, whenever we last left off, Midoriya was on Oa, and he is at least thinking about trying to bring back the Green Lanterns. And he has called in a favor. Talking to, or at least telling them that he is on Oa, and that he would like to speak to the leader of each corps they have, broadcasting the message to every single one of his rings that still has members in it. Now, with that being said, Midoriya has been waiting for about 20 to 30 minutes after making this call. Not really too sure on what to say. Yeah. After all of this shit started, he kinda fucked things up already. Now that he's thinking about it, Hal Jordan once said, whenever you first go to your, core homeworld, you have to go through training. And he hasn't been through a single ounce of it. Yet he holds all this power. So he's been doing good on his own. Yeah, that thought being interrupted by Indigo 1. At least I believe that is what her name is. She would teleport in with the various leaders of each Lantern Corps, along with more and more of the corpsmen. The Blue Lantern and the Indigo Tribe all showed up in massive numbers, wanting to speak with him. Now, you do have Indigo 1, Saint Walker, Larfleeze, Sinister's daughter, and I believe her name was Carol Ferris. That being 5. You're missing the Atrocitus and Hal Jordan, who are not there. Now. Okay, that is correct. I thought I had that mixed up for a second. Now, Midoriya, he is just looking up at them. And he's at least waiting for them to say something. All of them walking forwards, each leader, and at least wanting to talk with him. Larfleeze isn't too sure what to say. He sees 2 power batteries, one destroyed and one intact, so that does at least look interesting. Although he is holding back that urge to try and take it. That isn't his. He needs to make sure of that. He needs to remember that. Trying to hold off that idea of taking it and just leaving. While Carol Ferris and Saint Walker do at least try and talk. Carol is annoyed with Midoriya. Not only is he seen as a man, but yeah, he never showed up to training like he was supposed to, let alone speak to some of their members and the proper people. Along with that, she does remember the other human, Kyokujiro. Wasn't that her name? Saying that she left and never came back. From various reports, she heard that she teleported away, meaning that her beloved was alive. So, either that, or she may have thought of someone by accident, taking on an interest in them. The girl did seem very, very compulsive, and act more like Larfleeze when it comes to the idea of loving someone, since that's really all she had to hold on to. She doesn't know the girl's backstory, but yeah, that sounds about right. In her eyes. Now, you have seen Walker though. He is glad that Midoriya's violent tendencies are at least balanced out by hope and peace of mind. Thinking that must mean that Umbrax is truly gone. A lot of people beginning to talk and whisper upon themselves, along with Indigo 1 at least talking to Midoriya and congratulating him on finding peace himself and compassion, especially after the trillions he had to slaughter. That is no easy feat. Midoriya shaking this off in less than an instant, telling her that he would rather not talk about those days. Now, I do at least want to talk about this problem. Hal Jordan, whenever he was still Hal, decided to take on the emotional spectrum, doing this and murdering every other lantern in existence. Then how are you a Green Lantern? Sinestro's daughter, speaking up, walking forwards and just yelling at him. The last time she heard, he was dead. Then he's alive. Then he died again. What the fuck is going on? You are just some insect, aren't you? Something we can't crush. Her getting angry. She never really got over the death of her father. Yeah, Midoriya was controlled, but she doesn't know to what extent. Seeing it as more of a, if only he wanted to do it, then he could do it, kind of mind control. She doesn't really care much for Umbrax. She would just go off, berating and insulting Midoriya, telling him that after everything he's done, their core is never helping him. In fact, he isn't worth their time. Midoriya is just looking up at them, all of them seeing him. Some of them, or some of the core men of Sinestro Corps, taking a step backwards, as Midoriya stands up, walking directly in front of her. And he does see the look on her face as he looks down at her. The fear in her eyes is enough to tell him enough. She doesn't hate him, nor does she see resentment. He did something to her that they thought wasn't possible. He made them more afraid of something else, meaning that their core is at the weakest, and can't be put back together, since the boogeyman won't stay dead. Now, Midoriya would just apologize, although as soon as he opens his mouth, she would go to throw a punch directly at his face, kinda being surprised whenever she breaks her hand. Yeah, that's fun. Now, Midoriya would just go on stating, he's sorry for that too, but this isn't just about that anymore. I killed Umbrax. He's gone. The only one left in my head is me. Now, my world is dying, and I currently have the Red Lantern Corps saving it. So, I also do have a plan. Midoriya turning to Carol Ferris and saying that she loves Hal Jordan, correct? From as much as he knows, Hal Jordan was her first boyfriend or her husband, right? Then she had a thing for her just telling him to shut it. Yes, she loved Hal Jordan. She never stopped loving him. In fact, she might know what he's gonna ask. So, save it for now. Now, that would be whenever someone would just walk forwards and yell at Midoriya that he is nothing more then a man without those rings, requesting him to take them off and to fight him. Midoriya looking at this man, turning towards him. The man's about 3 times his size, has spikes coming out of his body, and from as far as he knows, he does look familiar. So, that means that the man speaking up, yelling at Midoriya saying that he slaughtered his planet, made us nothing more than a filthy, name an alien species on that planet. Midoriya confuses that statement, let alone what one of those things are. Now, the guy would just drop his ring and tell Midoriya that after he did that, his father took things over. Then, he worked on the planets and tried to get it to go towards peace. But people wouldn't listen, so he made them listen. In fact, because of you, I made myself a monster. Then when a ring found me, I self-exiled myself. I was not worthy of leading that place. So, I made a vow to myself. Next time I see you, I would kill you. The man just telling Midoriya to take off his rings. All, 7 of them. Since he is not wearing the Red Lantern ring. Telling him that he can beat his ass without them. Now, a lot of people are looking at this. Midoriya taking a few steps backwards and turning around. A lot of people laughing, expecting him to fly off. Until Midoriya takes off his rings and sets them down on a rock. Turning back around and looking at this man, who rushes forwards. He didn't even take off his ring. In fact, he's gonna play this dirty. He's gonna butcher Midoriya as if he is, well, nothing. As soon as the construct collides with Midoriya's body, it shatters into a million pieces. Midoriya would just look down at the man as he jumps backwards, confused. Midoriya just staring at him, telling him that that wasn't going to work in the first place. Even then, Midoriya disappearing, saying that if he wanted to try and kill him, he would have obliged in a fair fight. In fact, he might even tie one behind his back. As he actually does, bring his hand backwards, smashing the guy in the back of the neck as he hits the ground. Midoriya teleported, quote-unquote, behind him. It being so fast, no one can register it, mistaking it for some kind of quirk. Carol is confused by that, and everyone else is just shocked by it. Midoriya is just holding out his hand as his rings do come for him, telling everyone that that is done, and that proves it. So, will all of you help me with restoring the Green Lanterns? And bring Hal Jordan back to sanity. In fact, I believe that this mission will be important. And we'll be going back to my planet. Now, for those of you curious, it's in Sector 1542. Along with that, him just turning to Sinestro's daughter, saying that your guy is not dead. He is knocked out. Then again, he might have broken part of his spine, or whatever kind of muscle structure those things call it. Let alone bone structure. In fact, he thinks he hit a plate. Whatever it was. Now, Midoriya would just turn back around and bring both of his hands up, holding out both of his palms as light just begins to blast out of them, and chains begin to form. Midoriya using shame and beginning to cut his way into the planet, ripping the city out from the ground. A lot of people just watching, as Midoriya lifts it upwards into the sky. A lot of people confused, as Midoriya takes flight back to his planet. All of them still in this giant city. Now, Midoriya will come back for the rest of the planet soon. In fact, he just needs to take this place to his home, eventually arriving. A lot of people confused when they do see a planet coming in. Usually the lanterns, they at least say when they're bringing down planets, transmitting to someone and getting an explanation as to where they should go. In fact, whenever Midoriya does set down this planet for Oa, or the city for Oa, a lot of people are confused by it, since it's directly next to the city for Japan. Now, a lot of other countries do want to know what that is, since, well, it looks odd. Transmissions are being picked up. And just simply getting a visual on it, it's massive. Now, this is whenever Jiro would eventually come flying over and see what Midoriya did, recognizing the place immediately. As she does arrive, Carol Ferris would see her. Jiro kinda freezing up and thinking for a second. Fuck. How does she explain herself? She is looking down and she does actually just start to hold her head up high and walk directly towards her, saying that she is not sorry for what she's done and that she knows their corpse ideas and traditions. She did at least go over them a little bit, but she will not apologize. She held up true love. Now, Carol would bring her hand up. Jiro is someone just closing her eyes and waiting for a second. She expects to get smacked in the face. However, she's kind of surprised whenever she gets a hand on her shoulder. Carol, someone just saying that she did hold up traditions, and if abandoning meant holding them up, then she did the right thing. Sometimes when those rules conflict, you'll be at a crossroads, and that you have chosen well, young Lantern. Now, Sinestro's daughter is still pissed off at this, yelling for Midoriya's head. Midoriya finally giving up, and doing one thing, telling her that he'll show her what it's like to be a puppet, holding up his hand and having his ring slide off. Her confused as it comes flying towards her, and it covers her costume. As the ring slides onto her finger, the same one as her Yellow Lantern ring, her being taken over, and immediately feeling this happen. Midoriya beginning to puppeteer her, and showing what she can do. Her body's moving on her own, and she's actually freaking out a bit, not sure what this psychopath is going to do with her. She's trying to fight back, but she can't. What is going on? Eventually, after talking with her and explaining it to her, he would recall his ring. As it slides off of her finger, she immediately drops to her knees, somewhat weakened and exhausted. Midoriya then saying that he felt like that for years. Now, are you done? Do I have to explain myself and explain it better? Because if I do, I will give you another demonstration. A lot of people actually scared by that. St. Walker telling Midoriya that he does not need to do that. In fact, they are here to restore the Green Lantern Corps, and violence will get them nowhere. Now, let us just all be calm and have hope we can restore it. And do this. Do you have a plan, Midoriya? In fact, where is young Bakugo? Or, well, I believe just Bakugo now. You two have grown a lot. You are the same age, aren't you? Yeah, we are. Anyways, he's over in my city. Now, with that being said, this is whenever, after some time and talking, they would try and formulate a plan. Yeah, along with that, someone in the background is at least getting their own things ready. Apparently, Midoriya is alive. The Umbrax guy is alive. That information being what is leaked, along with at least different stories from what's been happening to ours. Midoriya not being in control. Midoriya going insane again. He's going to find another place and another planet to kill. However, he's taking his time, carving up everyone in particular, leaving no survivors. He doesn't want to feed on the shame anymore. He wants to feed on the fear. He wants to get a taste of the wild side. Now, someone does leak that information. Along with, let's cut over to Jason Todd. It's been somewhere around a week and a half since she murdered the Joker, beating him to death and then him laughing as he died. He can't get that laughter out of his head. Before he does at least realize something. That laughter isn't coming from his head. He's the one laughing. He may have killed the Joker, but he got the last laugh. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing night. Catch you guys in the next part.